Hey everybody, and welcome to the second part of the Gentle Glen park playthrough. So in the first episode, we filled in kind of the front section of the park, just near the entrance, and we added quite a lot of gentle rides, including a cycle railway, a chairlift, a hedge maze, and a crooked house, as well as a couple of thrill rides in the Twister and pirate ship. And we also added a new side friction coaster out on the outer side of the map. Oh, and I guess there was also the spiral slide on top of the hill near the end of the video as well. So we kept the scenery and the decorations very much kind of along the lines of what was already there, so lots of gardens, shrubs, and I tried to pick trees that matched the original style. So that included some of those silver birches, Chinese cedars, and the little willows down by the water. I was also pretty adamant about keeping the pre-built rides in the scenario in place because I think they're pretty iconic, especially the coaster and the cycle railway. Not the cycle railway, the mini helicopters. But even the carousel where it's kind of perched up on the hill there, and I think that looks pretty good too. I did make one small change to the mini helicopters. I just extended out one of the corners by one tile, I think it was, just to fit in the little entrance building. But apart from that, keeping the pre-built rides exactly as they are. As well as the chairlift that we opened up, we did start another one that ran perpendicular to that, kind of along the spine of the hill in the middle of the map. We also added in a few extra bits of pathing around the place as well, which proved a little awkward at times with the lack of flat terrain, but eventually made it work in the end. And that is pretty much where we got to. So the first thing I did in this episode was extend the unfinished chairlift and kind of finish the layout of the ride off. I don't open it up just yet. I'm kind of procrastinating, so I know the entrance and exits and queue lines are going to be kind of awkward, so leaving that till later. I add in a new coaster in the Virginia reel. It's of similar style to what I usually do, except I add in a few more climbs after each drop than usual. Usually I just have like the drops, then a turn, then a flat section, then another drop. Not so many climbs usually. But yeah, I made it deliberately small in an effort to make sure I got hit with at least one of the stat penalties, which might sound unusual, but being Gentle Glen, I am trying to target the lower intensity rides just because all the guests spawn with a intensity preference of less than 4. I add in a few little decorations here and there, but not too much, just a fence around the place and a couple little shrubs here and there, but yeah, nothing too drastic just yet. I then added in a circus show at the base of the hill. I think it fit in quite nicely up there. Gave it a few colors that match some of the surrounding rides, notably the dark purple, which kind of matches Hiccup. I would have to say the circus show surely must be one of the most unpopular rides in all of RCT, and I think it's because the intensity rating is like 0.05, I think. So yeah, typically that's a very unpopular ride. But of course, with the low intensity preference of the guests in this scenario, it was one of the main hits, I guess. So that was actually super weird seeing a circus show with a completely full queue line most of the time. After that was done, I then decided to try something a little different and add in a small water slide over in the far corner of the map. Now, to make it kind of blend in, I do a fair bit of landscaping just to make it look more sensible, or at least that's what I was trying to do. But the idea is that this is somewhat of a water or tropical themed area, albeit quite a small one. The slide itself isn't the most realistic design, but I wanted to try and kind of emulate a splashdown situation where the dinghies are kind of conveyor belted back up to the station. So there is a bit of sneaky track underground after the big drop, so it kind of just climbs back up into the station platform there. Yeah, I think it fits in pretty well actually. It doesn't look too obvious. And I do kind of like the snaky design of the layout as well, just a kind of slow meandering section after the lift hill, then followed kind of by a big finale. I then moved the pirate ship from the side of the map in between some of the curves of the water slide, just because I thought it was more suited to this particular zone, going for a water or tropical theme. I got insanely lucky with actually managing to fit it in between the curves of the water slide. I mean, even looking at it now, it seems like I've disabled clearance checks or something. I just got really lucky with that. I then spent some time decorating around the this tropical sort of themed area. Actually, way longer than I expected, but I was quite happy with how it all turned out. Since I did want this area to kind of stand out in its own right, I gave it a little bit of a different path, just the standard asphalt, which I think is quite a nice contrast to the main path in the park. Bizarrely enough, I unlocked the jungle theming, so I took advantage of that and added quite a few of the jungle shrubs around the place, and I think they always look really good. I love the different shades of green that you get in that theme set. Also added quite a few of the sand tiles, just to kind of help bring out the more tropical or beach element to the theme. And yeah, I think that turned out really nicely. It was quite a subtle change, but I think a very worthwhile one, especially towards the edge of the map, or the areas of land adjacent to the water. I thought that was I think that went a long way. Now, one thing with the low intensity preferences of the guests means that the rides I put in aren't super profitable. So I've been charging like the maximum ticket price I can for basically all of them. So I've had to spend a lot of time like going back and adjusting ride prices, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I think it's paid off in the end because we are making quite a bit of money somehow. Well, actually, I think the Virginia Aerial was a big contributing factor there, and same with the side friction coaster, actually. I think they're actually pretty good money makers. I was getting a little bit bothered with the empty hole left by the pirate ship that I moved earlier, and thought a Ferris wheel would work quite well in its place. So I added that in and did a bit of landscaping around it just to make that blend into the surroundings a bit more. I was struggling to figure out what to do with the little awkward spot near the chairlift and the spiral slide just underneath that. So it's probably too small for rides, and I think stalls, shops and stalls would have looked a little bit awkward. So I added a little trail style walk with a dirt path there. Added some light shrubbery, and I thought it would go as a nice little interactive sort of walk. Added a few pieces of the mushroom scenery around the place just to add in a bit of color and vibrancy around the area. I may have mentioned last episode, but I'm going for a bit of a forest woodland themed area at the top of the hill here, so I was trying to kind of bring a little bit of that in, especially with the wooden fences. They're also part of the jungle theming set, but I think they work quite nicely there. I did finally open up the chairlift that ran perpendicular to the first one. As I was kind of anticipating, it was quite painful getting the queue and exit paths in, but managed to eventually. Ended up putting a path that went up the hill at the far station, and used a bit of a sneaky underground path for the exit of the station closer to the entrance. Hopefully I'll unlock the mining theme at some point, because I think those barrels and piles of wood always go well with a forest theme. So fingers crossed I get that soon. Took the opportunity to add a little bit of shrubbery that was lacking in other areas, just especially in some of the little blank spots that I just only just noticed. Added a few more bits of mushroom scenery around the place as well. I then moved on to the final task for the episode, which was extending the forest themed area down the backside of the hill of the park with a Dodgem cars, sort of near the summit, I guess. Dodgem cars seem to be a ride that I don't really use all that often. I think they're actually pretty profitable for a gentle ride, but yeah, for some reason I just don't add them in all that often. But yeah, being Gentle Glen, I thought it was definitely required to add them in here. I was thinking about an observation tower actually, but no, I think the Dodgem cars will blend in just a little bit nicer. Although I think I can still squeeze the observation tower in somewhere, but we'll see. I then followed this up with a car ride that goes around the perimeter of the Dodgems, as well as through the side friction coaster just for a little bit. I was conscious of making the coaster look a little under supported, because as soon as you put a ride under the side friction coaster supports, they can look a bit sparse in places. So I just I tried to limit the amount of crossovers basically, and I think it still looks reasonable enough. It doesn't look, the track doesn't look, well, the side friction coaster track doesn't look too under supported. The car ride, especially the second half of it, was actually quite painful just with the amount of terraforming I needed to get it in. But yeah, I'll tidy that up in the final part of the playthrough. But yeah, I've got a little bit of work to do there to make it look, blend in a bit more seamlessly, because it looks like a bit of a mess at the moment. So anyway, that's just about it. Yeah, next episode I'm going to finish off the forest area, perhaps try and squeeze in another coaster somewhere, as well as finish off the other side of the park, which I think I'm going to try and make into a haunted area, maybe a spooky swamp sort of place. But yeah, we'll see how we go for that. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much, and cheers. Bye.